You're listening to the Journey Podcast. The Journey is a ministry of Southcrest Baptist Church for those in college or college-aged. We hope this podcast helps you find your greatest pleasure and purpose in Jesus. Okay, well, we're back. And we have a special guest. No!
Wait a second.
We have the returning host, David Maddox. He's back. We're excited to have you back in your rightful spot.
Yeah.
We did not replace you.
Andrew did a pretty good job, though.
He did do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
He did an adequate job.
It's okay.
Pretty good is, I think, is like hefty praise. You know, I said hofty because I meant to say lofty and hefty
at the same time. Hofty.
So it was hofty praise. No, he did good.
Yeah.
So really appreciate Andrew. But man, like it's August, school's right around the corner. In fact, probably when you hear this, school will have started. And so I know we dropped our kids off at school today. Yours for the very first time.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's exciting. This was a first for us. Today was the first day that we didn't have to take nap mats to school.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone. And so that was that was a big day.
Yep.
You know, like we don't have to wash nap mats every week. And so that was exciting, but I think a lot of exciting things are happening, but the summer was great. And the reason I bring up the summer is because you were gone for what, like a month?
Yeah. Four Sundays, got 4 Sundays off.
Yeah. So the month of July, you were out. Okay. Now what we're going to talk about for this podcast is kind of the idea of rest, sabbatical, Sabbath, Sabbathing, whatever, whatever you want to say. But like really kind of the idea is like why rest is necessary, especially like why rest is necessary in the life of someone who's following Jesus, right? Or is it necessary? You know, like I think maybe is even a better question. But you did, like you just kind of the way Southcrest operates, like every like
10 years, I think.
10 years, and you've been on staff
for 11.
11 years, so every 10 years, you kind of have the opportunity to go on a sabbatical. And so explain just a little bit what that process looked like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was really weird, first of all. Like all of it, like picking a time and then trying to decide what we were going to do. And because it's odd to, maybe it shouldn't be so odd, but it felt really weird to be off for 4 Sundays. It was awesome. Sorry, I don't know what else to say about the process of it, but it was awesome to get that time away, kind of reset.
Yeah. So. And I think that's a major goal of like what a sabbatical is trying to accomplish, right? Like, just reset, a reset in your life, especially when you've been working at a place for X amount of years. Like you probably are at a spot where, not that you're burnt out or anything, but like that you need that rest, you need that reset. But I want to think through it specifically because our major audience is going to be college students. And I think college students find themselves either in one of two camps. One, they feel like all they do is rest, and by rest, sleep. Okay. I know a lot of college students who will like go to bed, you know, at midnight, 1 a.m. and sleep till like 10 or 11. So they're in that camp, or they feel like they don't get any rest whatsoever. So why do you let me ask you this. Why is rest important? Like, why do you feel like it's necessary?
Yeah. Oh, I think first thing that pops into my head, like practical answers, like you have to take a break. Like your body won't continue to work if you just keep going like that. I know we were talking earlier this morning about that concept of like, you can get ahead, right? Like, if you don't sleep, you can get ahead, right? And it's like, yeah, but you also will probably die. So your body is designed, by God to have rhythms of work and rest, and you pour out, and then you need to get poured into, right? Like that's language we use in church a lot, and you got to have rest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I heard a celebrity kind of say one time, like, man, when people are sleeping, like that's when you should be grinding, like successful people don't sleep. And I just think that that's just not like, one, that's not conducive to a very healthy lifestyle. One of the things we talked about is like, if that's the mentality you're approaching life with, there's this old adage that says like, what you say yes to, you're also saying no to something else. Yeah. And so like, if you're saying yes to, man, I'm not going to rest, I'm going to go as hard as I can, as fast as I can, as long as I can. You're also saying no to like other really important things that are probably necessary for you. And like for us, that probably comes in the form of like having to say no to family time, like if we're trying to like go as hard as we can, like as long as we possibly can, our families are the ones that are feeling the brunt of that. Like they're the ones that are kind of suffering in those moments. And so, like just from that standpoint, rest is necessary so that not only are you healthy, but man, like your relationships are healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the such a blessing that Southcrest is so generous to give pastors sabbatical, like not only encourage healthy rhythms, when you're on, but also to be able to bless pastors with an extended period of time off, is I think that even with your relationship with God, church is so important and community is so important, but a danger in ministry is that it becomes, you mentioned burnout, right? That it could become, it could become something that's just obligation. It's just a chore. It's just a job. It's just something that you're getting done. And so I think that's one of the things that I don't know that I even realized it until probably halfway through the sabbatical of going, oh, I want to go to church, right? And not that I, don't get me wrong, like not that on Sunday mornings I was waking up and going, gosh, I just hate going to church. No, I love worshiping with God's people with this church so much, right? But I think that's the point though. You don't like realize that you're getting into this, like that your brain is starting to, just associate things that, think about things the wrong way. And because I do serve and I work in ministry, and so some of it is just like, hey, this is the job, I got to get it done. But I think it was really healthy for my relationship with the bride of Christ, with the church, and my relationship with God to step back and go like, oh, this is so much more than a chore. Like I love worshiping with this congregation and being with people, and really good reset.
No, I think that's good, and I think really, really important. I would say too, like one of the things I feel like God maybe like created us for for the need to rest. I think is maybe to remind us too that like we need Him. Like if we try to go 7 days a week, as hard as we possibly can, one, we are going to experience burnout pretty fast. But two, I think when we do that, we kind of find ourselves falling into this mindset of like, I don't need God. I can do it on my own. And so like what rest does is it says, man, like ultimately, like God is in control of my life, and he's the one that sustains me. He's my provider. He's the one that gives me all of these things. Yeah, I'm working and working hard, but he even gives me the strength to work, you know? And so like rest just kind of sits there and says, ultimately it's on him. And it's not necessarily like my abilities or my, you know, like that makes all of this happen. Right. And so I think that's real. My nose is itching. I don't know why.
Me to get it for you?
Yeah. And so I think ultimately it's on him, right? Like that's one of the main reasons for rest. I want to get your opinion on this. Heard I guess he's a prominent pastor. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what he is. He's one that people probably shouldn't follow, right? You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. But he mentioned that God created us to work 6 days a week and rest one. And like really was kind of basing this off of the creation narrative. Like this is what God created us to do and how he created us to operate. True, not true.
Yeah, it's like I think it's just misleading the way, because I know that know the like what you're talking about, and it's just confusing and misleading, right? Because it's like I have so many questions, right? Like one, like what are you qualifying as work?
Yeah.
Because I just so adamantly disagree if what we're saying is that you need to like go to a job full time 6 days a week.
Yeah.
That's what God is commanding you to do. Yeah, no. But like if you're including work like in I don't know, like chores around your house and everything like that, all those different things, being with your family, even like it almost feels like he's including that, right? It's like, that he's not including the work that you need to do to care for your family and different things like that. Not including that is what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it almost feels like you're like when you tell someone like God created you to do this. And if you aren't doing that, then you're not doing what God created you to do. Like you're kind of putting like a weight on someone that they can't carry. And so that's my biggest issue with it is like, man, like one, you're basing this off of the creation narrative where the creation narrative is like, I mean, the focus is on God, like not on us, right? And so, I think I would be pretty opposed to like telling someone like God created you to work 6 days a week and rest one.
And it calls into question, like you're talking about defining work, like what is rest too? Like what is, which I know we've talked a little bit about, John Mark Comer's Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, right, which is such an awesome book on this topic. But like, what is Sabbath look like, and what does that rhythm look like? And it just makes me think. Okay, so on that seventh day, what are you doing? Like, and it makes me think of like the Pharisees, docks in the ditch stuff and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, we have all of these weird rules that in reality I think we're kind of just making up.
Along the way.
And
so let me ask you this as we kind of get to where we're gonna land the plane with this. If someone is sitting there going, okay, like I hear what you're saying, like Sabbath is important, resting is important. How do I put that into practice? Like, do I just sit there, on my couch all day? Like, do I do yard work? Like, can I watch TV? Like, what are some important practices to like really, that you feel like really help with resting?
Man, man, I really think the first one, right? Like I'm kind of coming at this from a different angle here, but is prioritizing your time with God in the morning. I guess it doesn't have to be in the morning, but like from people I talk to, it seems like the morning time is a really good time to do that, because you're establishing a routine, like that's a practical thing about it. You're establishing a routine. A routine is really good for you, but that routine is starting with an acknowledgement that that your rest, that God is sustaining you, right? And he's setting your mind right when you wake up. And so I think I really do, even though that's like, that might be getting up earlier. That's in traditional, like, oh, you're probably not going to sleep in so that you can do that. I really think that's like an essential kind of first step of establishing a rhythm of rest, because again, you're acknowledging where that's coming from. And again, kind of getting your mind right. But man, something that I did during sabbatical is took Facebook and Instagram off my phone. And so kind of moving from spiritual to more like just very practical. Man, social media is not restful. And I feel like and probably anybody listening knows this, like even if you are sitting on the couch all day, when you're scrolling through your Instagram or whatever, like you're not resting. It's not restful. But
yeah, I don't think we realize how important it is to kind of distance ourselves from that, like, whether it's weekly, monthly, like whatever that rhythm looks like, as far as distancing ourselves from, just the unhealthiness attachment, the unhealthy attachment to social media, right? Like that's, and I think we would all agree with that. Like it can be really, really easy to become obsessed with it, right? Where what do they call it? Like doom scrolling,
doom
scrolling, where you're just, and you don't even realize you're doing it anymore. And so, I think that's really, really important. I think along with that, like just, man, setting your phone to the side, and like not worrying about it. Like maybe that's like putting it in another room or something, for the day, or turning it off. I know that's like, that seems extreme, because it's like, well, what if someone needs to get a hold of me? I get it.
And it's so hard to turn that off, which I think is a sign of what we're talking about.
Like
why it's an issue.
We feel dependent upon
we're so dependent.
it.
I so appreciated Landon, our boss, Landon Holly, saying as I got close to sabbatical, I was like, oh, hey, if you need anything, I'm sure I'll check my email at least once a week. And he was like, I really wish you wouldn't. And I was almost like, well, but I've got to check my email once a week at least, right? And he was serious, right? He's like, I really wish you just wouldn't. And it actually was kind of awesome to be like, no, I'm not constantly on call or something. So it is good to have, and I think, sabbatical was awesome. Sabbatical it was really good to reset in that way. But I think a lesson that I'm trying to like pull into now back to the normal rhythm is, what does that look like routinely? Because it's not practical or healthy to just be off, to not work. For like long, that we're made to work, right? And so like I think you're just right on it. It's like I've got to set aside times when I can go, I'm not on call right now, right? Like I'm, just like with emails, I'm not checking all these notifications. My focus is completely dedicated to family, and it's just so hard to do that. But I think that's a big takeaway. I think from my sabbatical is like, okay, I've got to make this a priority. I've got to make it a rhythm. Like Sabbath a rhythm. So
man, I those that are listening, I would just really encourage looking maybe inwardly, looking at like, man, what are the rhythms that you practice, throughout the week, and asking yourself, like, can I set aside some time, where I really, maybe it's not even can I, it's like, should I, should I set aside some time where I'm putting my phone away or where I'm distancing myself from schoolwork or like these things, because it helps you be, it helps you become healthier. I feel like in life. And so those are, I think, just some encouragements, but man, we're wrapping up. And so any final thoughts or sage advice?
Oh my goodness. Sage advice. Oh no. All I can say
Did your kids feel like dad is just at home every day now?
Yeah, I guess. I know Allie, we love each other so much. Okay. But I know it was a little annoying at times that I was there all the time because she was still working.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I bet it was awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. Any thoughts?
Oh, I was just going to say, man, I don't have this figured out. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm, that's some sage advice, right? I don't have this figured out.
Yeah.
Like, but I think, yeah, like I said, I think getting that time, that extended time really helped me see that it's like, man, I got to make this a priority. I got to figure this out. I got to make sure that rest is built into the weekly rhythm, even when we're in a peak season, right? Like there's gotta be an acknowledgement that you can't just go all the time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yep.
So I'm learning with you. So
yeah, man, absolutely. I think we all are. But hey, this has been good. We're glad you're back. Excited for the school year. T&G's getting ready to kick off. Welcome week's about to start going down. Probably will have gone down when this plays.
Yeah.
And so, man, the fall semester is just exciting. And so really, really excited to get everything kicked off. But we appreciate you guys. I'm so thankful that you listen to this and are part of this with us. We hope that it's beneficial for you, that you're learning some things, even if it's just one thing, and so we're really thankful for that. But until next time, we'll see you soon.